Welcome back to our journey through ancient Egypt. In our last episode, we explored the late period, a time of foreign domination and cultural revival. Today, we will dive into the Ptolemaic Dynasty, a fascinating era when Egypt became a melting pot of Greek and Egyptian cultures. This period lasted from 332 BC to 30 BC and ended with the dramatic story of Cleopatra and the fall of ancient Egypt as an independent civilization. Let's start our story. In 332 BC, Alexander the Great, the powerful Macedonian king, conquered Egypt. The Egyptians welcomed him as a liberator from Persian rule. Alexander was crowned pharaoh and founded the city of Alexandria, which would become a major center of learning and culture. His conquest marked the beginning of the Ptolemaic Dynasty, named after his general Ptolemy, who became the ruler of Egypt after Alexander's death. After Alexander's death in 323 BC, Ptolemy I Soter took control of Egypt and declared himself pharaoh. He established a strong and stable government, blending Greek and Egyptian traditions. Ptolemy I built the famous Library of Alexandria, which became the greatest repository of knowledge in the ancient world. This era saw the beginning of the fusion of Greek and Egyptian cultures, with Greek becoming the language of the administration and Egyptian religion remaining influential. Ptolemy II Philadelphus, the son of Ptolemy I, continued his father's work. His reign was marked by prosperity and cultural achievements. He expanded the Library of Alexandria and promoted trade throughout the Mediterranean. His successor, Ptolemy III Euergetes, was known for his military campaigns and his efforts to expand Egypt's influence. During his reign, Egypt reached the height of its power and territorial extent in the Ptolemaic period. The Ptolemaic dynasty is famous for its cultural and scientific achievements. The Library of Alexandria attracted scholars from all over the world. Great thinkers like Euclid, who wrote the Elements of Geometry, and Eratosthenes, who calculated the circumference of the earth, worked in Alexandria. The blending of Greek and Egyptian cultures led to advancements in art, architecture, and science. The Ptolemies built grand temples that honored both Greek and Egyptian gods. Daily life in Ptolemaic Egypt was a mix of Greek and Egyptian customs. The Greeks brought their language, dress, and customs, while the Egyptians continued to practice their ancient traditions. The Ptolemaic rulers promoted Greek culture but also respected Egyptian religion. Many people in Egypt adopted Greek ways of life, especially in cities like Alexandria. However, in rural areas, traditional Egyptian ways remained strong. Despite the achievements, the Ptolemaic dynasty faced many internal conflicts and power struggles. The Ptolemies often married within their family to keep the bloodline pure, leading to rivalries and disputes over the throne. These internal conflicts weakened the kingdom and made it vulnerable to external threats. The later Ptolemaic rulers were often more concerned with their personal ambitions than the well-being of Egypt. One of the most famous figures of the Ptolemaic dynasty is Cleopatra VII. She was the last active ruler of the dynasty and one of the most well-known women in history. Cleopatra was a brilliant and charismatic leader who sought to restore Egypt's power. She formed alliances with powerful Roman leaders, including Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. Her relationships with these men were both political and personal, aiming to protect Egypt's independence. Cleopatra's first significant Roman ally was Julius Caesar. She met him in 48 BC and formed both a political and romantic alliance. Cleopatra bore Caesar a son named Caesarion. With Caesar's support, Cleopatra strengthened her position as ruler of Egypt. However, after Caesar's assassination in 44 BC, Cleopatra's situation became precarious. She needed to find new allies to secure her throne and protect Egypt from Roman domination. After Caesar's death, Cleopatra allied with Mark Antony, one of Rome's most powerful generals. Their relationship was both a love affair and a political partnership. Together, they tried to challenge the power of Octavian, Caesar's adopted son and heir. Cleopatra and Antony's combined forces were defeated by Octavian at the Battle of Actium in 31 BC. This defeat marked the end of their power and the beginning of the end for ancient Egypt. After their defeat at Actium, Antony and Cleopatra retreated to Alexandria. Faced with inevitable capture, they both committed suicide in 30 BC. Cleopatra's death marked the end of the Ptolemaic dynasty and the end of ancient Egypt as an independent civilization. Egypt became a province of the Roman Empire, ruled by Roman governors. The rich cultural heritage of Egypt continued to influence the Roman world, but the era of the pharaohs was over. Before we wrap up, let's reflect on what we learned today. The Ptolemaic dynasty was a period of great cultural fusion and scientific progress. It was also a time of political intrigue and dramatic events. What do you think was the most fascinating part of this period? Was it the cultural achievements, the famous figures like Cleopatra, or the blend of Greek and Egyptian traditions? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The story of ancient Egypt continues. Next week, we will explore the fascinating aspects of religion and daily life in ancient Egypt. We'll see how the Egyptians worshipped their gods, celebrated festivals, and what everyday life was like for ordinary people. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more episodes on the rich history of ancient Egypt. See you next week.